I caught my cheating fiancée. She left a note. I know, I canceled the wedding, took the ring, money, and ghosted. I, a 28-year-old male, have found out that my fiancée, a 30-year-old female of 2 years, cheated on me. We have been together for 6 years and in love with each other, at least that's how it was for me. She has been acting more distant and became more protective of her phone for the last 2 months. At first, I was not suspicious of anything, but the doubt grew more and more inside me as the time passed, especially after asking her if there was a problem since she felt distant. She said there is no problem, and that was it. I gave in and snooped on her phone to discover she has been sexting a guy for the last 2 months. I was devastated. At the beginning of our relationship, I clearly told her that lying and cheating in any form are the 2 unforgivable actions for me, yet she decided to cheat on me after 5 years of the relationship. We had been planning the wedding for this summer. I am not proud of that, but I checked the old messages as well. But there was no case of cheating other than this. I have been thinking about it for the last few days. I tried to wrap my head around it and told myself I cannot be leaving a 6-year relationship because of a single mistake. But after having a long talk with my oldest sister, I realized that I should respect myself and leave. She was the one who betrayed the relationship, not me. We do not have any shared assets and leases on my fiancé's name. I have an inherited house, but it's in another city. Tomorrow I am planning to just get important things from the house, block her from everywhere, and just leave. I do not want a closure, to be honest. I just want to grieve the relationship. I thought maybe I did not love her, given that I want to leave her right away, but it's not like that. It hurts a lot. I tend to stress eat, masturbate, doom scroll, and spiral into depression in these kinds of situations. I have that experience from my early 20s. By going no contact and returning back to the city where my family lives, will give me a circle that can support me. Would I be the idiot if I straight up left and ghosted her without saying anything? Relevant comments should be heavily considered, and you should share them with important parties, such as your ex's parents. Otherwise, they might harass you or spread vile lies that your ex might tell them to save face. Remember, it's easier to explain your side before people are filled with rage or doubts about your character. It really sucks to hear what you are going through. I wish you the best of luck navigating this, as it might also create legal problems. I second all the comments that call for you to keep screenshots as evidence. If you do go ahead with ghosting, the likelihood is that, without explanation from you, she's going to play the poor abandoned fiancé and claim she has no clue why you've left. This way, if you have proof, she can't play the victim and turn you into some sort of monster. I wouldn't personally ghost. I would have at least a conversation, even if it was only to very firmly say, "I'm leaving and I want nothing to do with you. Do not contact me or my family." Then I would make sure they know why. However, I can't judge you for just wanting to get out immediately. Not the idiot. I have the screenshot texts, and I do not think she would be able to victimize herself here. Not the idiot. Sure, an explanation would be nice, but who cares about being nice at this point? Also, I'm sure you don't want to hear her excuses and lies. Leaving this way might be for the best. If you guys need closure, that can be done in the future. You can only go from here. Good luck. Yes, the main thing is that I do not want to hear lies and excuses. She cheated, and that's it for me. It does not matter why after that. Update. One of my sisters came early in the morning to take me after my fiancé left for work, and we packed some small things. As the lease is in her name, I do not have furniture and stuff. We packed clothes, accessories, and other small and personal things. Her car is an SUV type, so we were able to fit most of the required things, thankfully. I could not take the ring, though. I left the keys under the flower pot and put a sticky note on the refrigerator saying, "I know, bye." The drive took about 7 hours, and we safely arrived at the inherited house. On the ride, I received countless messages and calls from unknown numbers but did not answer. Once we arrived at the home, my eldest sister called me, asking if we arrived. She told me that my fiancé called her crying around 3 p.m., and my sister told her not to contact me. We know everything, and if she tries to paint me in a bad way, we would not use only words but would not back away from showing solid proofs to people. My fiancé requested to know where I am and to speak to me. My sister said I am fine and she should not contact me in any form. When my fiancé said we at least deserve a closure, my sister replied, "Too bad. Suck it up." Not exactly that, but that's how I would translate that idiom. She ended the call. I still get calls and messages from unknown numbers. In the end, her father and mother called me. Surprisingly, my fiancé came clean to them, and while they hoped me to give her a chance, they respected my decision. I thanked them and wished her the best of luck. Her father told me he would be sending the ring's money and asked for my bank account details. He actually sent it by adjusting to inflation, so I got a pretty decent amount of money. The house is in an almost perfect condition, as we renovated it before Mom passed away. It's just incredibly dusty and dirty after not being used since then. My 3 sisters will come this weekend, and we'll clean it together. My eldest broke up with her girlfriend recently, so she plans to live with me after her lease ends in a few months. She has been complaining about the rent prices for a while. My sisters are pretty much my only family, so I only informed them, along with some really close friends. I am planning on going to therapy after settling here. It may sound weird how close I am with my sisters, but we grew up like that. We grew up with an abusive father, and as I was the only man and the youngest one, all of the physical and emotional abuse went towards me. We bonded with each other through trauma, and they tend to be a bit protective with me. I think that history is one of the reasons I just did not want to face my ex-fiancé. I thought I got over that, considering nothing happened since the family therapy we took. But it seems to be there. I'll get into therapy as soon as possible to understand everything and resolve the problems. I will post if there are any updates, but I just hope there will not be any. I just want to have peace and grieve right now. Relevant comments. It sounds as if you are on the right path and have a good support system. Yay, sisters, for having your back. Good luck. Thank you. I did not know what I would do if my sisters weren't there. OP, I am so happy for you and good for you for getting out. I read your original post. Your message to her was perfect, short, sweet, and to the point. Thank you. I tried to keep it as short as possible. Many people said it would be weird to disappear without a simple note, so that's what I did. This was not an easy thing to go through. It's great that your family and her parents are supportive and understanding. She made the wrong choice and has to live with the consequences of her actions. Her parents are incredible people. I am glad they did not push for anything further. Story 2. This may be a little confusing, but I will try to make it as clear as possible. My 27-year-old female fiancé's ex is now my older brother's wife. To make it less confusing, my fiancé is George, my brother is David, and my sister-in-law is Ella. George, a 38-year-old male, briefly dated Ella, a 34-year-old female, 4 years ago. Ella wanted to get married and have kids, but George did not want this with her. He was also having a lot of issues back then, partying, doing substances, and not being the most reliable person. They dated for 6 months, and everything ended in drama because Ella was not able to make George want to settle with her. Soon after their breakup, she met my brother, and they got married 6 to 7 months after. So yeah, they moved really fast. Basically, Ella dated her ex, broke up with him, met my brother, and got married to him. Everything happened in only 1 year and a couple of months. I met George 2 years ago, and at that time Ella was already married to my brother. Back then, I had no idea that George was Ella's ex. When George started to feel attracted to me, he changed completely. He quit drinking and doing substances and has been sober ever since. He started going to therapy and overall became a new person. He did this because he wanted to change, and I have been with him during his entire healing journey. I am very proud of him, and we have a healthy and amazing relationship. Even if Ella was already married to my brother, she was furious when she found out I was dating George and that he was serious with me. She was so cruel and said a lot of unpleasant lies. She used to tell everyone that George was grooming me. I was 25 when we became a thing and he was 36. This is not grooming, for crying out loud. She lied that George was abusing me, trying to get me to become an addict like him, and many other things. This ruined my relationship with my brother because he never did anything to make her stop. George and I announced our engagement to my family last week, during my dad's birthday. My parents were happy for us, but Ella said it must be nice to be the one to get the ring after someone else struggled to fix him again. No reaction from my brother as usual. My parents told her to stop, but I just snapped and told her something along the lines. He fixed himself, you pozos, and yes, it is nice to know I will be married to the man I love more than anything, and who loves me the same. But how is it for you, knowing that no one else except my idiot brother ever wanted to marry you? Does it feel nice? My parents kicked them out after this. They told her that everybody had enough of her BS. She is insane because, although being married, she is still bitter over the fact that her ex did not want her. She is officially banned from every family event, and my brother is now blaming me. So am I the idiot in this situation? I don't think I am, honestly, but I want to also hear some unbiased perspective. Relevant comments clarify the details on why she is banned but not me, based on multiple comments. Why should I be banned from my own family? I am my parents' child, and she is an in-law. I will soon be an in-law to my future husband's family, but I would never attack his relatives in their homes. Also, my relationship with George is not doomed. We are happy, we love each other, and we really have a healthy relationship. A frustrated woman who cannot get over something that happened 4 years ago will not ruin my relationship. Your still being banned is essentially banning your brother as well. Would George actually go to family events if you weren't allowed to go? No, he would not go without me. But my brother was asked multiple times to address this and keep his wife in line, and he did not. He keeps making excuses for her. Just to be clear, I was able to tolerate this woman for years, and I did it only for my brother. But apparently he was not able to ask his wife to stop. I think we have an unreliable narrator here. George is not sounding like a knight in shining armor. And from her comments, that she's trying to keep op from something bad happening. Maybe the family should ask her for specifics. Maybe Ella isn't bitter that her ex didn't want her. Maybe she knows something op doesn't. This is some messy stuff, and I definitely think we are missing information. I can respect your opinion and thank you for your feedback. Yes, this is how she made it seem, that she knows things that I am too young and in love to see, that she is looking out for me. Some lies that she said are that George is grooming me. False. I am a consenting adult. Yes, we have an age gap, but it's not like I am 15 and he is 11 years older. She said George will influence me to drink and do substances to become like him. False. He never did anything like this. He never ever did that with her either. Although in her narrative, she is trying to make people see George as a dangerous man who is running down the street with a needle to corrupt people to do substances with him. This is not the case at all. Even when he used, he was not like that. He has always been a functional adult, he has a good-paying job, but in the past, he was spending his free time at parties, getting drunk or high to numb out some of his feelings. And he was clearly not relationship material. She said his change is not real, that he is just a predator faking to be a good guy now just to get me. This is false also. I am the one living with him for 2 years, and I think I know better what's happening in my house. So no, even if she deludes herself, Ella does not know George better than I do. Did OP have a great relationship with her brother before his marriage to Ella? I love my brother, and we used to have a great relationship before. Since he is older, he was always my protector, but I am deeply hurt and disappointed in how he acted during the last years. Ella and I never bonded or had a close relationship. How did I respond to the SN comments at first? I tried to be polite and chill, but when her comments did not stop, I also became unkind to her. Update. This update will be very long, so if you don't want to waste time reading the first part, you can skip directly to the actual update. Thank you so much for all your comments and reaching out to me. I don't know what I accepted when I posted. I guess I wanted to receive some unbiased feedback from an outside perspective, but I never expected this. I was really overwhelmed with how kind and nice most of you were. So once again, thank you, and sorry for not being able to reply to all the comments. For those who are not on the same page, I understand and respect that you have a different opinion from my initial post. I have left out a lot of details because it's a long story, but some of you were curious about what actually happened and asked me to provide more details. So buckle up, I will do just that. How I met my future husband. I get asked a lot if I live in a trailer park or a small town with only a bar available. The answer is no. We actually live in a big city with a population of a couple of millions of people. I met my fiancé through a mutual friend. My girlfriend was dating one of George's colleagues, and they all began to hang out for drinks after work since they were all in the same building. At some point, I had no plans for that day, and my girlfriend invited me to go with them to a bar. This is how we were introduced. After this, we started having different group activities together, and things slowly progressed. George targeted his ex's younger sister to spite her. There was no coincidence that we started dating, as absurd as it may sound. It was indeed an ironic coincidence. You may think, out of the millions of people there are in a city, what are the chances for you to start dating your sister's ex? Well, it happened to me, and we did not know about it in the beginning. The girlfriend that asked me to go with them to a bar did not know Ella. She never saw her IRL, and she never saw her with George. When George met me, he had no idea that I had any connection to Ella, so there was no chance for him to be an evil mastermind and intentionally date me just to spite her. I also did not take George home to meet my family immediately. Maybe I am the weird one, but I was never the type to parade my boyfriends in front of my parents if I was not sure the relationship was going to last. I broke the girls' code. I do not consider that I did. Let's be clear, I have a couple of true friends. They have been my friends for many years, and I would do anything for them. I am a very loyal person, and I know the girls' code very well. When we eventually found out about the connection Ella had with both of us, I was shocked, and I asked the same question that many of you did. What were the chances? It was a very uncomfortable position to be in, even though I had no relationship with Ella except the obvious one of her being my sister-in-law. It was strange to know that they had dated. I wanted to find out what happened before taking any decision, and I did. The way I saw things, there was no reason for me to punish George for having a past. We were in love, we were happy, and Ella was already married to my brother. I may have been selfish, but I thought, is this man in our relationship worth it? And the answer was yes. To me, he was and will always be worth it. Also, we see my brother and Ella only a couple of times a year, most of the times for obvious reasons. We prefer to visit my parents separately. George's addictions. So many of you reached out to me, being concerned about this, and I wanted to thank you for caring and say I am sorry you had to go through traumatic experiences with addicts. Some of your stories were hard to read, and I appreciate immensely that you were open to share your experiences with a stranger. I understand why most of you were triggered by my story, but George was not that type of addict. He had a lot of unresolved drama. He was lonely, unloved, and ashamed, so his coping mechanisms were parties, alcohol, and substances. His entourage was also not the best. You can imagine that a bunch of 36-year-old party boys and girls are no good. But at the end of the day, when everyone else went home to their families, wives, and kids, these were the people who could provide company to George. I think it was more like all of them providing company to each other so they could feel less lonely. But other than this, George was a functional adult. He had a stable, well-paying job and is still working as a software engineer. He was never violent. George changed for me. No, George changed for himself, and because he wanted to, he told me that I was the trigger that made him want to get his life in order. But in a more meaningful way than just wanting to get into my pants. When we started hanging out as a group with my friend and his colleague, he learned how easy it was to interact and have fun without substances or alcohol. He also saw that I enjoyed spending time with him. I looked forward to seeing him every time, and he understood that his sober self is not unlovable. He was longing for healthy relationships and normality, but until that moment, he felt like he was not deserving to have them. I think the way I helped him was solely because I saw and fell in love with his true self, and that gave him confidence and purpose. I am the golden child. There is no such thing in our family. My parents love my brother and me the same, of course. When they heard LSBS for the first time, they were worried for me, but I was open with them. I told them how things happened. George was honest and never hid his troubled past from them. And in the end, they were okay with our relationship. My parents trust me, trust my judgment, and they only want to see me happy. In regards to Ella, my parents are just doing what every parent should, defend their child. She was warned before my parents talked to her, asked her to stop acting like this, and told her she is out of line. So it's not like they kicked her out the first time it happened. Now into the update. Yesterday, I contacted my brother and asked him to meet me for coffee. It was only the two of us, and I think it was the first time I have opened my heart like this in front of him. I started off by apologizing for him being caught in the middle, but I told him I will never apologize or be sorry for loving George. I was honest and told him how much this situation has been affecting me. My brother is the same age as my fiancée, so he is 11 years older than me. During our childhood, he was my protector, the person I looked up to due to our age difference. We never really had many activities in common, and I could not wait for the moment I grew up so I could share more with my brother as adults. However, I did not get the chance to do this because of Ella. David would always teach me to value myself, to choose people who treat me right and make me happy. However, I am not able to share my happiness with him anymore. I understand why he would wish I never met George, but it still hurts knowing that your brother somehow resents the source of your happiness. David would always defend me when I was younger, even in front of our parents. When I was 15, I was experimenting with makeup, and it looked bad, really bad. During a family function, one of our uncles got drunk and told me to stop using makeup because I was too young to look like a hooker. David got mad and kicked him out for offending his sister. This is the kind of brother he used to be, and to now see how he stays aside and allows his wife to be offensive and cruel is really hurtful. I do not care that she is like that towards me. I don't like Ella at all and could easily ignore her. But what gets to me the most is her constantly trying to belittle and humiliate my future husband. I have lived with this man for 2 years. I have shared so many things with him during this time, and I am certain I know better what kind of man he is. I know how hard it was for him to heal all his TR, and I know how hard he worked day by day to become the best version of himself. I know how much he loves me, protects me, supports me, and I simply lose it when I hear her crap and how she is constantly trying to bring him down. Yes, I go bear mode when he is involved, as someone told me in the comments, but I don't care. I will not allow any of my family members to abuse the person I love. I may have tolerated things for my brother's sake, but I will never be quiet in front of his BH of a wife. I told my brother that I love him, and I will always cherish the memories I have with him, but we cannot go on like this. I understand he is a victim, and I am ready to do anything for him if he is willing to accept that his marriage is not good, that Ella is not a good woman and is abusing him. I cannot force him to divorce her because this has to be his choice, but I told him I will accept his decision, no matter what that is. He will always be my brother, but George is my family now. We plan on having kids in the near future, and there is no way in HL I will ever allow his lunatic of a wife to be near my kids. I also refuse to subject George to the abuse. We thought that this rough period would eventually pass, and that everything would be okay. Unfortunately, Ella became more and more bitter and disgusting. We will still see my parents, but I am standing my ground and will not go to their house if she is present. David and I cried a lot, and for the first time in many years, I felt like I had my brother back. He apologized over and over again and explained a lot of things to me, which gave me the chance to understand him better. But at the same time, I am so angry that I had no idea what was happening to my brother. Some people said that David was a rebound for Ella, but it seems they were both a rebound for the other. What made them marry so fast was the age pressure my brother was feeling. It was very hard to connect with someone, and the prospect of being able to have a family of his own seemed very far away. Until Ella came and offered him the possibility to have exactly what he wanted without too much struggle. So yeah, in the end, I guess we are all some messed up people in a way or another. I don't know what's going to happen. David said he plans to take some time, go away alone for a couple of days, and think about what he wants to do. But he said that when he'll be back, he wants to have a chat with George to apologize to him as well for everything that has happened. My brother knows that everything Ella says is false. He said everyone is able to see how much George loves me and that we make a great couple. There are times when he wishes to also have something like this in his life. He told me he is proud of the woman I have become and that no matter what happens, I will always be his little sister. After this, I went home and cried some more with George beside me. I have tried to play strong and denied myself to feel hurt for so long that yesterday I have finally exploded. But it was good because now I feel better. Additional info. Hi, I respect your point of view and thank you for your feedback. However, it seems too much to me, saying I brought him back into her life. No one expects them to suddenly be BFFs or spend a lot of time together. We do not have the same group of friends. We do not have vacations or trips together. So how is my future husband forced into her life? We only ever meet up for family-related occasions, which are not that many, to be honest. In the year we have Easter, Christmas, and my parents' birthdays, so, for events. And maybe sometimes some weddings of extended family members, but that's it. Also, no one asked her to do anything or be nice to us. I only ever asked her to ignore us like I do to her. So, basically, she was asked to behave like an adult. As an adult, sometimes you will have to share the same space with people you are not really fond of. However, you should be able to be civil and not make stupid comments. I never liked her, not even before George. So, I guess she is forced into my life. I understand that sometimes I have to see her because she is my brother's wife and that was it. I can understand her experience with my future husband was very different than what I have with him. I can respect her not liking him. However, I will never accept her idiot comments, her unpleasant remarks, her lies, and overall her being a crappy person towards us. She should fix her issues with a therapist, not act like we are her punching bag. Relevant comments, as my brother shared, if there was some type of abuse going on between him and Ella, he did not share much about what is happening to him. But from what I have seen and what he had told me, I don't expect her to be the perfect angel with him. Also, abuse has many forms, and at least she is abusing his kindness and his easygoing nature. She had the guts, multiple times I should say, to come to my parents' house and offend me, their daughter, in their presence. Even after they were polite enough and asked her to stop, so again, I don't think that she is being too nice to my brother behind closed doors. The original poster should share that her brother didn't need to have a miserable future with Ella if she continues to manipulate him. Yes, I did, and I talked to my parents, and we will target the topic full force when he comes back. I fear she is manipulating him with this in order to make him accept more than he should, maybe convincing him that at their age, it is too late to find someone to start a family with. But even my fiancé is willing to talk to him and use himself as an example that it is never too late, and you should not settle for toxic people. Update. Hey, it's been some time since my last update, and I've kept receiving questions about what's new with my family drama. So I decided to update once again. TLDR. My brother David is divorcing his wife, and we've found out a lot of details about her. As expected, she is not taking the divorce lightly. As planned, David did take some time for himself and went to a retreat cabin for a week. He went there alone because he wanted to have the space and time to rethink his life choices. This was exactly what he told Ella, but he left out the location because he did not want to risk her showing up there. The first day he was away, Ella contacted my parents and me to ask us about my brother's location. We did not disclose anything. On Wednesday that week, I was contacted by some of my brother's friends. They wanted to know if my brother was okay and if it was true that David was cheating on Ella. Initially, I was very confused as to why they would think that, but they told me that Ella has been going around complaining to people that my brother was cheating on her and that his family, were on board with it and covering up his affair. I told my brother's friends that this was not true, but I decided to be petty. So, I went on social media, uploaded a photo of me with my brother, and wrote how proud I am of him for taking this time to focus on his mental health and well-being. Some hours later, Ella called me and demanded that I take down my post because I was embarrassing her. I played dumb and asked her why a post dedicated to my brother would ever embarrass her. She never answered, never admitted to lying, and I never took down my post. It will stay where it is for posterity. After my brother returned from the retreat, he asked me, George, and my parents to meet up at our parents' place and talk. He apologized for everything that happened with his wife and told us a lot of things about Ella. Apparently, she is a very jealous person and has a constant need to put others down so she can look better or feel superior. Ro gave us a lot of examples of crappy things she did, including some of her relatives and supposed friends. One of her female cousins works for a transport company, so most of her colleagues at work are men. Ella told this cousin's husband that there are high chances of her cousin cheating, since she spends every day surrounded by men. Her cousin was pregnant at that time, and I don't know if she was trying to imply the baby may not be her husband's, but still, needless to say, they don't speak to Ella anymore. She had a girlfriend who got into a relationship with a guy. Ella kept telling this girl bad things about her partner that she supposedly heard from other people. She was never able to tell who she heard it from. Most likely she invented everything, which is why her family members avoid her and never invite her to functions, and she does not have any friends. People from their circle were friends with my bro before he married her, so they are just tolerating her for his sake. I mentioned that Ella must be abusing my brother, and a lot of people took it the wrong way when I mentioned abuse. I did not mean it as physical abuse, but more like emotional abuse. I guess everyone has their own way of seeing things, but for me, being married and still being pissed off about things that happened with your ex years ago is clearly a sign of disrespect towards your spouse. If someone is able to openly disrespect their spouse over and over again in front of their family, it's a high chance for that person to do more than disrespect behind closed doors. My bro clearly struggles to see his self-worth at the moment, and this is also the reason why he accepted too many things from his wife. But we will be with him always, support him, and remind him what an awesome guy he is. Also, many people were outraged and called me an idiot for calling my brother an idiot. I don't know if all of your families and relationships are like those you see in commercials, but in real life, siblings fight. Sometimes, when they fight, they may call each other's names. This doesn't mean I don't love my brother or that I don't respect him. But if I see him acting like an idiot, I will always say it to his face and explain why I think he is an idiot. I apologized for calling him an idiot, and he said there is no need to apologize because he expects me to always be honest with him, even if sometimes the truth may hurt. And I understand because I expect the same from him. Anyways, David confronted Ella with everything that she has been doing and told her she needs to get help. She refuses to accept that she has any problem, stating that everything she has ever done came from a place of love and care for that person, right? Because when you care for your cousin, you lie to her husband that she may be cheating on him, or when you care for your sister-in-law, you lie to everyone that she is forced to do substances by her partner. She did not take the divorce well, but not because she was losing my brother, but because she saw this as a failure that shattered the perfect image she had of herself. Maybe after some time passes, I will actually be able to feel sorry for her because she is a sad person with so many issues, refusing to get help. Of course, Ella blamed the divorce on me and our family, claiming that David is choosing us over her. So clearly, she does not take any kind of responsibility for her actions. David, however, warned her that if she continues spreading lies about our family, we will hire a lawyer and take legal actions against her. At the end of the day, if she still insists with her crap, she will have to prove everything in court. Of course, we don't want to get to this, but she needs to understand that we cannot say whatever we want about other people and not face the consequences. In the meantime, George and I are planning our wedding, and my brother will be George's groomsman. They really had the chance to bond and even discovered they have a lot in common. I don't want to be mean, but ever since Ella is out of the picture, our family gatherings happen more often than before, and the atmosphere is so light. My brother is slowly going back to his old self. He is having a good time with us, no stress, no dissociating. He is just present and enjoying. So that's it for now. I don't know if this was the update you were expecting, but I can say I am happy we are slowly healing from everything that had happened this past year. I am positive that, in the end, we will be closer and stronger than before. Relevant comments. OP on Ellen needing to get help with resolving her own issues affecting David's self-esteem. Wow, I never thought about this, but you may be right. I have been thinking about your comment, and it makes a lot of sense. My brother, who has self-esteem issues, her cousin and her cousin's husband, who were expecting a child, so obviously, we were in a vulnerable and emotional moment of our lives. Her friend, who started dating someone and was going through that initial phase of getting to know the partner and building trust. My brother again when she knew their relationship was on the rocks, and he may decide to walk away from her. So why not trash his image and conveniently plant affair rumors before a divorce? My parents, Jesus, she may be actually really evil.